What up, Billy? What up, Bill? So we kind of already went over in the last stream that I randomly did at 11 about this guy's video. Snowden's secret, the NSA can't crack, which is...
What if I told you there's a single USB?
Saying the NSA can't crack something is kind of retarded.
When you shut down Tails, it's basically amnesia mode. Restart Tails, and there's nothing.
And not to lazy reaction type of content, but for whatever reason, I mean, Cube's OS is the most reasonably secure operating system that we have that isn't like native, like that isn't like Fedora or like Secure Blue, where it's like literally focused on security. The fuck is this? Ubuntu?
Meaning everything in it is free and open.
No hate to the person, but fix everything. It's just, I hate how YouTube has gotten. It's just sloppy. It's like everyone picks the same thumbnail. It's just cringe. And a lot of clickbait titles. I mean, I'll accept clickbait titles versus shitty. The thumbnails are even worse. Create your own cryptocurrency? Ooh. Makes my skin crawl. Where the fuck did I go? Why'd that pop up? And we're going to go over Linux security. If I could spell today. The fuck? And I hate actually when people use Snowden. I hate when people use
No hidden trackers or
I
proprietary.
was going to say they probably, but I hate when people use Snowden as their pivot point. Snowden is just a guy that literally just had verifiable proof that the U.S. was spying on us. Simple. That doesn't mean he's a expert on anything. I just he is educated about cybersecurity, I believe, in general. And I think he went to school for computer science. But I'm just pointing out him existing doesn't mean anything. That'd be like being like I understand there's like expertise, but the reason Snowden is popular is because he stole secrets from the fucking United States government, whether you agree with that or not, and he got put on one of the most wanted people in history. One of the most wanted people. I believe he's on a terrorist list because he committed a crime. Whether you think it's a crime or not, that's up to you. But he committed a crime. And anyone could have done it. Anyone could have done all this, and then he left country. So he's in a country with no extradition, as far as we know. So like, and he has the United States government probably not actively, but like actively searching for him. Like if they come across him, they're going to arrest him, obviously. I mean, I think he uses Cube's OS for obvious reasons, and uses Tails. But then again, if you have bad OPSEC, it doesn't matter. I mean, plain and simple, your best security is OPSEC. Quite literally. Understanding how to have good OPSEC. There's no such thing as perfect OPSEC. There's no such thing as perfect anonymity. The Tails. The NSA actually, this is a crazy story. The NSA actually did break Tails, kind of. Not the NSA. The federal government had Facebook help them. This is actually crazy. Facebook helped a guy that was distributing CSAM to do, I think it was a VLC media player. Tails helped catch a predator. This is a wild story. Oh, man. Facebook helps break Tails, helps catch pred. Facebook sponsored zero-day exploit. Yeah, here it was. This was crazy. They helped him catch a pedophile. So saying it's not crackable is, this guy's already retarded, and I mean it, no hate. And he's wrong. And if you did just 2 minutes of research. Now, Tails does have really good built-in tools to maintain your anonymity. And this is somewhat of a user error problem, but they did help develop a zero-day exploit targeting the Tails operating system. Again, this could come down to just criminals aren't generally not always technically, or even probably most cases, technically literate. And then we can look at what was that other darknet market? Damn, I wish Sam was here. He could tell me. He's the one who posted his metadata all over the place, and we'll get into that, but we have to do it in steps. But this is just my brain working. I'm just the problem is the shitty title, because Tails itself didn't get cracked, but it did have a zero-day exploit that did leak information where they did catch this guy. And even Tails themselves say that nothing's perfect. You have to have good OPSEC. And then he recommends something called for whatever reason, he recommends this.
Status, DNS.
I can't remember where I came across Codicia, but I installed it and he used it, and then I had either a conversation with somebody or I went down a really long rabbit hole on why it sucks, and it's not good. And again, you can just install all these tools yourself, so it doesn't even matter. So first we're going to get into the issues with blogs. Blogs are complete cancer now. I'm going to sound like a doomer, but I'm not a doomer. I want people to be aware so they don't get trapped into these, what's the best Linux distro? What's the most secure and private Linux distro? I hate to say it, a Windows machine or Mac OS where you avoid as much information and telemetry as possible would be probably far better. Quite honestly, and this is coming from a Linux enjoyer. Can Linux provide better privacy? Sure. And can it provide less telemetry collecting? Yes and no. There are some Linux distros that do collect telemetry, or they have it on by default, like they have it and allow you to toggle it off, but it's still clicked on, so if you're not paying attention. And then, I mean, that's like a whole like backstory of controversy of like, I mean, there are shitty open source companies, like Canonical exists, guys. Like Canonical exists, guys. Saying all open source is good is, I mean, it's kind of not always the best. So, but back to the blog point. Blogs, Tech Radar Pro, fucking retards. I mean, these are just written either by people that are uneducated. They have cubes on there, which is based, and Unix. I've never heard of Scepter, to be completely honest. And it's based on Debian, which is terrible. And we'll get into why. Because people get wrapped into these really bad like rabbit holes because they just go to like tab and they're like and then after they type into shit, they fucking get led to shit like dog shit like this by whoever the fuck that is. And Brian Turner, it's always update. They always update these no matter. Sorry for being late. I was trying to 5-star some songs on Guitar Hero. Based. If you want to be a real guitar player, you learn Guitar Hero. So we're going to go over why the list is bad and the blog is bad, and people need to stop using Edward Snowden as their pivot point, because quite literally, Edward Snowden is a national terrorist. That doesn't mean you need his level of expertise. That doesn't mean you need his advice. His advice could be outdated and wrong. I mean, the guy supports Zcash, guys. Let's be real. He's involved with Zcash, which is actually kind of crazy. It's wild that he didn't just dump a ton of more money or time or into Monero. Monero's going to be the default until they fuck up somewhere. So these lists are always SEO. By the way, fuck SEO. I need to remember. Yeah, I need to post that. Sorry, guys. I need to post. Fuck SEO. All my homies hate SEO. So you have to remember that SEO is garbage. It's truly ruined the internet. That's why I like Gopher. I hope it takes off one day. So these are always like written like some robot. We list the best Linux distros for privacy and security to make simple and easy to prevent PC damage and data loss from malicious online content. What? Although Linux is generally regarded as a reasonably secure and lesser secure risk than Windows, that's not true. Linux distros still need regular security updates to keep it secure. That's like for anything. That's like no shit. Privacy and security have become an increasing concern for internet users. No, it hasn't. Not not least with increased government monitoring and corporate collection of user data, Palantir, and a long-standing of well-publicized publicized hack attack in which this user data has been stolen and misused. While Windows and Mac OS computers have some protection in place, and there are additional options such as one of their best VPNs, which is what the fuck? Like, how do you go from like we have like really good protections in place, and using one of the best VPNs, it's like this is why people still believe this fucking shit. Or the Tor browser, which I mean there's pros and cons to Tor, but that's whatever. A number of Linux distros now available that put privacy and security at their core. Just use Gentoo, guys. For some reason, Linux distros, in the case of building privacy protection by default by using various tools. For others, it's a matter of including security software as a standard for those who need penetration testing, which you can just, again, download yourself and save yourself the headache and the time of having like 40 gigs of fucking tools that you're not using. And I think I was taking some like online pen testing like class to like just learn overall how it works. A lot of like the best like teachers, they're like, you have to learn, you don't have to be a programmer, but you have to know how to make your own tools, because in the case of a lot of penetration testing, the internet's not homogenous, and because it's not homogenous, Gentoo is the best for security and privacy and building a custom Cubes OS. I mean, like TLDR and leave the stream kind of moment, but Cubes OS is the best. Gentoo, sure. Hardened Gentoo, sure. I mean, Gentoo, actually, rolling release software is bleeding edge, is generally more secure than LTS for a plethora of reasons, because rolling release gets the patching and the updating and the security patching and updating much quicker, and obviously bleeding edge faster. I mean, but that gets into like esoteric kind of shit, like Cube. There's probably instances where I break quote unquote Cube security for convenience, but it's sandbox, so it's like I'm not really too worried. Like, I verify all my packages on Cubes OS, but sometimes I'll put them in like I'll put the applications in like certain sections that I probably should have put it in its own VM first, tested it, and then moved it over. But you know, Gentoo has more bleeding edge than Arch with testing repo. Yeah. I mean Gentoo, but Gentoo you have to do a lot of your own configurations, and you have to. It's not as user friendly. I mean, to be fair, you can make a lot of. It's kind of like writing SE Linux policies. You can make mistakes. It's hard as well. Same thing with like AppArmor. I mean, and then people still use FireJail for whatever fucking reason, even though FireJail's bad. They recommend it's still recommended for whatever reason, even though Bubble. I think Bubble Jail is the replacement. And Fedora's never put on this list. I'm a Fedora hater, and Fedora is quite literally one of the most secure Linux distributions out of the box. And because of like immutability, like immutable distros making the rise kind of, and Wayland in terms of isolation is better than what is it, X11? Yeah. So, and it would actually Cubes, if they can find a way, if they can get a dedicated team and find a way, they would create Wayland as, it's kind of a cool topic actually. They would take its own virtual machine. It would be its own stack, like the network and the USB stack, and it would be considered the middleman for like Wayland. So like all the videos. Why do people say Linux is compromised? Blah blah blah. When sudo gets another bug. Because I mean sudo gets like bugs left and right. I mean we should get away from sudo personally and go to something like, you know, any run, I think would be better. Oh, sorry, run zero. I don't know why I'm saying that. Run zero would be better. But again, you know, I digress. So like the bad thing is a lot of these best Linuxers for price security is just it's slop. It's sloppy content to make sure that everyone always gets to your fucking website. You write so much content that no one ever goes anywhere else and has third thought. So Kodachi, awful. Not easy out of the box experience. Stupid. Kodachi uses a custom XFCE desktop that aims to give users access to a wide variety of security and privacy tools. XFCE is Duez is better than Duez is better than sudo, but the best option is removing root altogether and having a separate user as root. Like remove OpenBSD made OpenDuez and OpenNet. They're good, but the better option is to remove sudo completely and have it as its own user. So kind of like how Kick Secure, even though it's based on Debian unfortunately, they system link is one of the best approaches is to remove sudo pretty much altogether. Or Bazite did it too, and Secure Blue. They remove the ability to use sudo. You're not a sudo user. You are a regular user that eventually that can get sudo privileges. It's interesting how they all go like their own approaches, but CubesOS doesn't work with some hardware. I have not come across anyone who's complained about hardware security by isolation. Radically different. It's not radically different. It's not yet usable. CubesOS is just a hypervisor. It takes all of your compartments and separates them, and that's it. If you know how to use Fedora, there you go. You know how to use CubesOS. If you know how to use Debian, boo. You know how to use CubesOS. You want to use Windows and CubesOS? There's a script for it. Does it work? I have no idea. Tails, anonymized. It forces everything through Tor, but you could, if you want that. Obviously, it's not as good as Tails. You can get Hunix. It works on CubesOS out of the box. It's great. I use Hunix a lot. It makes two separate. It's already two separate machines anyway, so really irrelevant. And you can actually get Kick Secure on CubesOS, and you can get the split system maintenance maintainer to work on CubesOS. It's kind of a separate process. I did get it to work kind of. It is interesting. I do kind of like it. But it's very taxing because now I'm running more and more virtual. I run a lot of virtual machines on 16 gigs of RAM. But the biggest complaint I have with Cubes, which is not here because Tech Radars should be renamed Tech Retards, battery life is terrible. That it could be just my laptop, low key. My laptop, but could be just taking a big dookie. But I did replace parts earlier this year. I should have replaced the battery. The OS should monitor how the user uses the computer and require them to prove competence for a dozen hours before they're able to evaluate privileges. Yeah. That'd be so crazy. No one would ever be able to use their computer then. 2 minutes left and oh yeah, thanks for reminding me. So yeah, Cubes is like, I don't think it's even extreme security. I mean, I use CubesOS for a completely different reason. The security is a great feature, and I definitely tell people about it. Mine is the compartmentalization and the organization, because my ADHD kicks in. Like, it's great because I get to organize everything. I have all my cubes labeled. I have all my tabs labeled. I have ones that wipe on immediate. I have ones that don't. I have, endless different sections, and I've gotten so good at copying pasting is actually third reason, because Tech Retards probably have none of these guys have ever used these. I use Cubes, I've used Kodachi, whatever it's called. I've used Tails, I used Unix. Never used this. We're gonna get to this in a minute. No one would be able to use the computer. That's probably for the best. Yeah, true. Oh man. So I should just find a way. I think I can run all these in a virtual machine. Cubes, you really can't. You kind of can. It's such a headache to set up. setting up cubes in a virtual machine is a huge headache. I'm just gonna throw it out there. They're definitely tech retards. Yeah. They've released like some decent stuff on like fucking new shit, like very like some very like simple like getting your head, but like half their other shit is just absolute, like best antivirus, just ass. And I want to point this out. I hate going to websites and looking for reviews now, because they always show the most expensive product. They always have affiliate links. It's AIDS. It's literally AIDS. I hate it. I hate the internet. I don't trust reviews now. I barely trust them. I have a completely, in the last like month or so, I've completely had a different method of how I source stuff and make sure I'm getting a good price. And I do not click on links because fuck them. They added zero value. All these fucking sites that are like, this is the best XYZ here. And then they show the top 5, quite literally the most expensive products I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm like, why do they always promote? And it's always the same sites. They all have the same products they're like listing. They have all the same. It's just, the internet's cancer now. Like, all articles are just ads. Yeah, they're pretty much just all ads now at this point. It's the internet's no longer fun. I think I get most of it. If I want to find something new, I just go here. I go here immediately. If I want something new tech related, yeah. I'm like, man, I really want something cool. What's this? When's it coming out? And then I read on it. A powerful, like, this is how I found about, so the Raspberry Pi, if this comes through, might get Trusted Platform Module 2.0. It might get a Trusted Platform, which is awesome. You could do all your encryption and your encryption keys and everything, and store it all there. And it has a true number generator built in. Pretty awesome. The internet was most fun in the night. Yeah, like, I'd say I'm gonna disagree. The internet was the most fun in like 2005 to like 6, when every website looked like that. And you know what website you're thinking of? Like, you're like, why does every website look like this? MySpace was probably the last good social media. Next to like Nostr is really cool, minus the Bitcoin retards that I just do not like interacting with all the time. Jenkins is the best this is the best laptop. Shows all desk. Yeah, for real. Here's my affiliate link. Look, I have no problem with companies making money, but like, I have no issue if somebody went out and bought all this shit and actually like, hey, this is they bought like a mid, a low, and a tier, and they're like, hey, this is actually a good product. And some of these like high-end products, like these big price products, they're not bad. Not all of them are bad. Some of them are like, all right, I can see where the price comes from. I can see the blah, blah, blah. But why isn't Nova Customs on here when you look up the best laptops? Holy shit, Dell is actually, yeah. So we're going to actually get into that. It's kind of funny. Enterprise level laptops are relatively the most secure, but they're more secure than the average like standard like consumer grade laptop, but they're very expensive. Dell, I believe, and it's advertised with cringe. I forget which Dell. Dell has all their over 1,000 Dell laptops. Have a critical vulnerability. Yeah, more than 100 different Dell laptop models affecting millions of devices are vulnerable to a critical security flaw, and the Control Vault 3 pretty much allows remote execution. You can steal all the passwords, secrets, and keys out of the laptop. It's pretty fucking insane, actually. And I guarantee millions of people are not going to update this shit, because they're not going to be updating their firmware. It's firmware level, I think. An enthusiast gamer. Now, 95 was an exaggeration, but I do think most of the fun was 89, 99, back when Zero Noobs existed and IRC was king. Even though most of us still on dial-up. Nah, man, we gotta... 2000s web design. Can I find her? Horse Girl, 4chan. No, Enchan. Enchan's girlfriend. How am I gonna find her? Jessie. Looking up Horse Girl is absolutely insane, though. I could still call up a BS and connect. Everything was basically completely unlocked and rip for the pet picking. Yeah, for real. There's this girl on PeerTube. Oh man, I'm not gonna find it. I love PeerTube's like what YouTube. I love PeerTube. No. I'm just gonna use HTML and CSS, JavaScript. Yeah, fuck JavaScript. It should make your own web server to serve content that JavaScript. We should just delete JavaScript, guys. We don't really need it. God, it's gonna suck because so there's this girl on the internet. She has a website that's Tube Girl. Site. We're gonna get some. We're just gonna get porn. Fuck. I'm gonna find her site's really funny because like the cursor, it was like a cigarette at one point, I think. And I was like, this is great. This is like 2005 internet. '98, I got a certification for webmaster certification. It considers it a class at the local community college, and all I did at the end time was steal code from other websites. That's awesome. Like, look at these elegant designs. This is peak. This is peak internet, guys. Whoa, holy shit, let's look at this. Whoa! Holy balls! One topping medium pizza for 25 cents when you buy any large specialty pizza. That is crazy. They ain't doing that shit no more. Oh, we're gonna hit some hold on. Minus the nostalgia train that I'm going on. But so I found this site. Back on topic. My ADHD is kicking in. So this guy, yeah. Where is it? I came across this. Kodachi Linux, a brief security review. So this guy wrote this back in 2021, October 24th. I was recently made aware of Kodachi Linux, which of course, this is just some random person, but I add the Monero emoji. I will. So we're going to take this with a grain of salt, but we're also going to look at something by Median's Insecurities. This is one of the developer. It's barely a website. Look at McDonald's from 90s. I honestly like bloatless, clean websites. Like, I like shit like this, man. I don't like getting ads on the left and right. I like this. Minus the light mode. No, light mode. Light mode needs to be fucking illegal. If we could make anything illegal, it'd be light mode. So, I came across this, and then we're going to dive into this because this goes deeper into that of like Linux in general, but Linux in itself is not secure out of the box. There's a lot of problems with it. There's no sandboxing. This is just like the TDLER, too long didn't read bullshit. And it's got some other issues. Linux isn't homogeneous in its nature, meaning that it's not similar. Like all Linux distros take their security a different way. People like to compare Linux server security to Linux desktop security. Those are two different things, completely. You wouldn't, yes, text heavy websites with few scripts and black, yeah, seriously, for real. Bring it back, guys. I'm trying to make my blog as plain as possible. I know there might be some hate there, but I'm also not a web designer, and I just do not give a shit. So I tried I think I fucked up on the colors though, and it looks a little goofy. I'm going to spend a weekend like designing it to make it super like minimal. I like minimal. I like just none of the, I actually, if I could figure out how to do early 2000, if I could figure out how to do early 2000s, like maybe graphics, like web design, that would be okay. Dildo browser. And I use Ghost, and I wish Ghost did not force JavaScript. I like Ghost. I think Ghost is great. They do a great job. I wish they just did not force JavaScript. I wish they just got rid of it. They could make it. I'm not even joking. I want to be able to browse the web on a Atari ST. If I can't load your site on the Atari, then your site sucks. Yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be kind of cool. Like I mean, you should just look at Gemini. There's a promising project where this guy is going to make Gemini like the Gemini gateway for doing websites like blogs. Very simple to set up, maintain, and install. There's no reason why there can't be text-heavy websites that can still be accessed on an old-ass hardware. There is. They're mainly on Tor and I2P, just not like normal. So we're gonna read this guy. Dildo is armadillo, not dildo browser. Dude, armadillos are pretty sick. If you think about it, they got built on. They Gemini cat girl for real. Funny enough, actually, first off, I wish Discord just out the gates supported terminal-based login. They need to stop being a bunch of cucks and just incorporate that. I like browsing like via the terminal, but armadillos are kind of sick because for the fact that they got built-in app armor. So we're gonna read this. Kodachi Linux, a brief security review. I was recently made aware of Kodachi Linux, which according to its website has gotten critical acclaim. This superficial attempt to look at the distribution, even if it's fair to call it that, off the bat, it doesn't start well. I want to browse the web with my iMac G3 and anything. No, get the iPod, dude. Oh, nice. Haiku OS is pretty awesome. I actually like Haiku OS. It's kind of cool. Confusing documentation. For best security results, email, banking, cryptocurrency, ISP, host machine, XMR, anonymous VPN, Linux Kodochi VPN, virtual machine, VMware, with firewall forced VPN traffic, Kodochi browser, DNS crypt, best model. That does also make no sense. ISP, Linux, Kodochi VPN with firewall forced VPN traffic, Kodochi loaded browser, DNS crypt. DNS crypt has been also like kind of like there's pros to it, there's cons to it. I think encrypted hello is starting to make a big move, which is kind of cool. It's kind of like the last puzzle piece for privacy, but the bad thing is it's owned by Cloudflare, I think. And if it's owned by Cloudflare, I mean, some people just don't like Cloudflare. Kodochi with Malvad is the best Kodochi. Yeah, Malvad's got the best track record. I don't know who the fuck this guy's VPN is. ISP, Linux, Kodochi VPN with firewall, forced VPN traffic, Kodochi loaded browser, which you don't know the integrity of that browser, Tor DNS, just use Tor. ISP, like he just has the recommendations. They confuses security and anonymity, which that does always get confused. There needs to be a port of Bitcoin client to. Do you run Haiku OS like full time? And you should just use Monero. Bitcoin hater, Monero enjoyer. I'm a Monero maxi. Bitcoin's like kind of like second to me. I do think having self custody of Bitcoin is nice, and I do want to set up a Samurai wallet. No, I think it's called not Samurai anymore. It's called something else, but it does. It has Whirlpool integrated too. Just use Feather Wallet in Haiku. If Feather Wallet isn't on Haiku, then compile it. Yeah, I think it's completely compilable. Yeah, I think they do have like its source. I think they do have their source on there. This confuses security. While the majority of such sites today employ TLS, HTTPS, sending traffic through unknown VPNs and Tor may potentially send your traffic to an attacker, and this is true. You have no knowledge if the motivations of the people running Tor exit relays, and while they may provide anonymity, they are not meant to provide security, and this is true. VPNs, especially if they're running it themselves, you don't know if they could take over the traffic, they could see the traffic, they could see the unencrypted traffic. You are putting a lot of trust into your VPN provider. And also, if your system is not set up correctly, you can do DNS leaking, you can leak your IP address if it's not configured properly. You are trusting this person to do the configuration essentially for you, which is not a good thing. Furthermore, Wrath AI Maui, the author of Kodochi, openly admits to transferring a hardware hash by default upon boot. I pay monthly rent to run a VPS nodes and utilize them. Why did I say AI? I'm retarded. I'm the opposite. I'm a Bitcoin maxi, but I'm open to Monero, and I have run a node before, so I would say I'm not a maxi. Monero just offers better privacy without extra steps. Bitcoin is quite hard to actually obtain privately. This is why I'm against it. It's essentially getting too involved in with the government, which is anti-decentralization. I am not for a crypto-backed country. I think that is somewhat authoritative, and that would be the opposite of decentralized money. And I do not like the idea of big whales buying Bitcoin and dumping it and doing price manipulation. You are just literally now just go buy it in the stock market. Haiku provides full POSIX libraries, I think. Oh, nice. This is why I like Monero, because it offers true freedom. If Bitcoin was the same level of anonymity as Monero and less involved with the government, I would probably be on the Bitcoin side. I think that Bitcoin requires too much steps and it requires too much configuration in order to obtain it privately, which is my main gripe with it. I hate the people championing governments buying Bitcoin. I do too, and I also hate the Bitcoin price. Look at, like, everyone's just looking at the price. They're not looking at the technology. Like, Nostr is really truly a great decentralized social media platform that is built on the principle of Bitcoin. I mean, public and private key cryptography, just in general, and blockchain technology has spawned great innovation in terms of digital sovereignty, but again, people do not care about that. That's the problem. Monero is not really price. People don't really care about the price as much. I think it's okay to care about the price to a certain degree, but that's all Bitcoin maxis care about. I wouldn't really consider you a maxi, because generally when you talk shit about Bitcoin, maxis get really butthurt. They steam. They're like, you're just Peter Schiff, man. You only care about gold. When in fact, I actually think Lightning is really the best method of achieving privacy. It's not. There's actually Lightning. There's actually good documentation on, if you don't run your own Lightning node, you are essentially. It's really not. It's so. Lightning is not near, even layer 2 wise, is not nearly as close to as private as Monero is, and we could be getting semantical slightly to it, But if you're trying to achieve yeah, that's why I say I'm not really at max. Yeah, but I will say that Lightning, the only good thing about it, and I'm trying to be, I'm saying it's not because I've been reading. There's a person on Nostr that brings up the privacy concerns with not really. You can get a. It's not a requirement. You can go on Cash App and obtain Bitcoin Lightning. It's Lightning, and I can send it to another wallet, and it can be traced. Its privacy is better than standard Bitcoin. I just like Lightning for the fees, to be completely honest. There's ways to trace Lightning. I think Seth for privacy, I believe, as well, talks about what up, bro? Seth for privacy is not private. He there was him and then someone on Nostr I was talking about. That Lightning Bitcoin is not private, and they kind of like he goes over it. That's old. Yeah, he talks about like. I mean, your best solution, obviously, run your own node and swap through, like, churn as much and spend as much. But I'm critical of it because I don't want people to get trapped into think that Lightning is private. It's slightly more private, but it's kind of like taking cash and removing the camera, but the cashier still knows who you are and handing your ID. Like Lightning's kind of like this: you walk into a place with cash, there's a camera on you. And you're like, oh shit, so they can kind of, this is going to be not a good analogy, but I hope people understand. But the camera, say, gets removed. Lightning removes the camera. They're like, throws it out. But the cashier knows you. They know you by name. You hand over your ID. They're not going to remember you, but they know that you paid cash. Like, somebody can kind of like correlate back to this. Maybe that's a bad example, but that's the best way I can think of it. That's the best way I could explain it. Monero's like, you walk in, the camera is blacked out, the cashier is drunk and on meth and no one believes them. You hand them cash and you walk out with your product and no one's ever going to find you. As long as you have good OPSEC and you get a mask on. You know, I guess like is the only way I could explain it. But right here. So I pay monthly to rent to run the VPS nodes that utilize them for the VPN, which is provided to you. I do not collect any data or store any information logs that belong to the user except the hardware ID hash and connected IP address VPN IP. That has to be sent automatically when your PC establishes a connection. How on earth did he conclude that it was a good idea to transmit a hardware hash on boot? For security and anonymity focused on distribution, I could accept it if it only concurred after the user choosing to use his VPN, as is automatically transmitted upon boot. Well, the common Lightning integration is custodial, so it's very misleading to say that Lightning is private, but if you're running your own node, it offers... Yeah, running your own node offers a lot of privacy, but I want you to think about that for a second and explain however running your own node can be a real pain in the ass. I run my own node for a long time. I ran into a bug and I had to shut it down. Explain liquidity to somebody. That is a fucking headache. That's a nightmare. Explain on-chain liquidity to someone that wants to obtain this privacy. And I ran it on Umbra, and Umbra makes it super easy to set up your own Bitcoin node. But holy shit. And Bitcoin fees are ass. $3 to $4 to send anything. I'm like, ugh. I puked a little. It's like paying a tax. And then Lightning solves this, and that's why I like it. And it's instant. When I was in the great country of Europe, I found a Bitcoin store, and I bought something with Lightning. He's like, "Oh, I love Lightning. It's great," but he explained. He's like, people just don't care about it. I guess it's kind of like Nostr. Like it's cool, but people don't care about it right now. running your own Lightning node is literally cancer. I hated it, but I liked it because of the privacy, and I that's why I'm thinking about setting up God, what is it called? Joe. No. Replacement. Start 9? Yes, no. I love Start 9. I actually listened to a podcast with Start 9, and I love this guy's thought process. Rowan Dojo. My favorite site. Fucking bullshit that they got arrested though. Oh man. Start 9. I listened to a really cool podcast with him on it, and his model, the MIT license, he explained MIT license to me, and I'm like, it's the best fucking license. And he has a great reasoning. Like, first, Start 9 was an open source, and he's like, well, I'm not going to open source it until I know I can offer something that other people can't. But I'll do it. Give me he was like, give me a reason to open source it, and I'll do it. And somebody finally gave him a good reason. Does the mixing samurai used to do? Ashigaru, that's what is it. Ashigaru? Mixing. I know CoinJoin is. Yeah, you can run this. This is cool. No, there's another one. Even so he explained why he liked the MIT license, because he said his point is digital sovereignty, free and open source. There's problems with GPL 3 software. They can technically no, there's another one. It's not Ashigaru. There's another one. It's Ronin Dojo. Yeah, it is Ronin Dojo. Man, I am retarded. You said it. Join market. I know conjoin is a way to be slightly more profit, but no, this yes. Are they the same fucking thing? Are they? Am I just dumb? I might just be retarded. But so in his podcast, he talks about why the MIT license. Oh yeah, I hate when people ignore issues with license, especially when all licenses have those issues. Yeah, GPL3 licensing, they can technically reject you to use their software. It's not as free. MIT minus the do whatever you want, the fuck you want license. MIT license is the most free. Okay, I thought that's where you were going. MIT licenses are the most free. He explained how MIT license to me. He explained MIT license, why it's the best. And that's why he did it. He's like, people, if they have a good product and they have something that you can't mimic, and Ashigaru on it. Oh, why the fuck do they have the same goddamn logo? Well, it's kind of the same. Come on, this is bullshit. You could see the confusion. So, MIT license. He explained in the most simple way. He's like, anyone can go into a restaurant and eat a burger, and he's right, eat a burger, and then go to another restaurant and be like, I really like that burger. You go in the restaurant, you eat the burger. You're like, I want to create this at home, or like at my restaurant. You go over and you eat that burger. They look almost exactly the same. They do. Very confusing. Very lame of them. You eat this burger, and you're like, I want to experience this again. You can absolutely take this burger and make it the exact same. Go back to your restaurant and mimic it. What you can't do is mimic how people feel inside your restaurant or inside your business. You can't mimic how your customers make you feel. You can't mimic customer support. You can't mimic atmosphere. You can't mimic feelings. And because you can't do that, you can open source your entire business model and provide such good service that you don't give a fuck who else has it. You just go there. This is why you go to the same barber. You probably go to the same barber, get the same haircut for like $30, $40, $20, $30, $40, whatever. You could go anywhere else, maybe get it cheaper. Yeah, that's GPL. No, GPL does have some issues where they can MIT license allows you to MIT. He has an MIT license for Start 9. Permission to hereby granted free of charge a person to obtaining a copy of the software and associated documentation file, the software in detail to software without restrictions, including without limitations, right to use the copy. You don't need to ask for permission. GPL has some restrictions on it. And there have been court cases where people that have GPL3 licensing, GPL licensing, and they've refuted you to use it without permission. MIT is quite literally the most open source besides do whatever the fuck you want license, which is my first favorite. It's do whatever the fuck you want license, and then MIT. Some people say they hate MIT license. I don't know why. I know there's a famous Linux YouTuber that says that he doesn't like MIT license, and I disagree with him. Bitcoin's original MIT license, I don't know what it currently is. It's probably not anymore. Yeah, it's permissive software license. And it's probably the best. It's also free for commercial use too. It's like right here. Meaning you can sell. I feel bad because I feel totally like No, you're good. This happens all the time. So we're going. Don't feel bad. My ADHD will kick in no matter what, especially when it gets into like complex like software licensing with Linux is actually a very interesting topic that I like to go down the rabbit holes because licensing itself is crazy for something that you say it's open source, but then you're like, nah, you can't use it. Like Canonical is like very like Rust. Rust is a perfect example. Rust does not allow you to use some of their trademark stuff. Like they have a trademark issue with people using their logo or something, and they're like, I think GPL, I believe. And people were like tripping about Bitwarden's oopsie daisy. This happens all the time. That's how I know this stream is worth watching. Thanks. Okay, back to Kadochi. How on earth did he conclude that it was a good idea to transmit hardware hash on boot for security and anonymity-focused distribution? I could accept it if only occurred after the user choosing to use his VPN as it automatically transmits upon boot. I agree with that. That is not giving the user choice. And if you think about it, all VPNs log. They just wipe the logs. The best and most secure way to actually run a VPN is from RAM. From what I understand, this is how Mulvad does it. They run it from RAM and they reboot their servers consistently so that the temporary it's probably still, the logs are probably stored in the temp file and they get deleted on reboot. I just tried to compile a probably old lib magic on Haiku. It does work. Oh, nice. Haiku's an interesting because it's not Linux. It's like its own thing. It's very cool. And it's still like being maintained, which is kind of crazy. networking disaster for IPv4. Kadachi at least managed to configure this correctly. A trace path .4 VG no indicates that yes, it does indeed go through VPN possible Tor. By the way, IPv6, nightmare. There are so many fuck ups you can do in IPv6 that you literally it will compromise your security, it will compromise your privacy, it will compromise things left and right. You have to deeply understand IPv6 from what I understand to understand how it works. IPv6, what is it? Exactly. It was supposed to take over IPv4, but it still hasn't. And they've been talking about IPv6 taking over since like the fucking 90s, I believe, or like when it first started. But for IPv6, it falls apart. IPv6 is enabled and functions. Note that I redacted the first two hops as they were inside my own network, but the third hop is Hurricane Electric Termination Port from IPv6 tunnel. Interesting. Hurricane, one of the largest backbones, does not work. Configure guess unlimited. Can't guess haiku. I feel like IPv6 is a huge step backwards from IPv4. It's got some privacy advantages, but from what I understand, IPv6 was supposed to solve the amount of IP addresses that we are running out of, which is true, but IPv6 could be more identifiable because it's magic. It's a bunch of numbers and letters, so that could cause some privacy problems, and you have to configure it correctly. I had an internal DNS problem with something I was hosting because it had IPv6 automatically turned on in Ubuntu for whatever fucking reason, and it kept failing, and I was like actively punching my fucking monitor and wanting to put my head through the wall because I couldn't figure it out. And then it was a DNS issue, IPv6 issue. I had to go into like the network configure file and like disable it completely and then it went away. IPv6 sucks. I've never had a good experience with it. So I would say yes, it's probably a total failure. This is a devastating fault in a distribution attempt to provide anonymity. Unaware users may be trivially trackable through IPv6. This could be true because if it's not configured correctly, it is leaking probably personal identifiable information. Bad OPSEC. Believing your system uses the VPN they told to use. Some packages that are included, such as YouTube DL, will happily use IPv6 where available. By the way, well, I'm usually speaking warmly in favor of IPv6. At this point in time, it's going to make more sense to just disable it totally. If your goal is anonymity, it's a risk in this scenario because the tools that work on IPv4 often are unaware of IPv6. IPv6 might be great on paper, but if it sucks to use in practice, then it's useless, which is probably why so many people ignore it. Yeah, true. And on top of it, you have to understand that IPv6 is so unique. If something broadcasts an IPv6 address, you're gonna stand out to way more people than if you were to be just on your standard IPv4, like a standard IP address. Then a lot of people don't know this. When you have an ISP, hundreds of people could be using your IP address at the same time. You don't have always an individually unique IP. That'd be ludicrous. Some places you are sharing it with tons of people, or it could be like 6 to 7 miles away from your house. You don't even know. That's why people knowing your IP address, the general public knowing it doesn't really fucking matter. But obviously law enforcement knowing it and federal agencies and hacking groups that would be good in practice. Mainly law enforcement agencies if you're doing quote unquote illegal things. Or talking shit about your government. If you're in a country where it's illegal to talk shit about your government, this could be a problem. I think people don't even think about that one. Like, right now I could be like, my government sucks, big donkey doo-doo, you suck, I hate all of you, you're all gay and retarded. You know what I mean? So in theory, that could be like, if I go to a country where that's not allowed, that would be a problem. Yeah. Frank, I tried both Alpine and OpenSUSE. You are awesome, man. I recommend, for recommending Tumbleweed. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, Tumbleweed's great. I like OpenSUSE. It's OpenSUSE. I got corrected in a video. I'm like, how to pronounce OpenSUSE? I think it's OpenSUSE or OpenSUSE. Oh man, I'm gonna have to fact check myself on this one. I think pronouns, no. I think it's OpenSUSE. Damn it!
Good morning, my
This guy looks like a Linux user.
eager young pupils. Today we're going to be learning about non-phonetic words. What are non-phonetic words, you ask? I'll tell you. Some words
This guy's definitely an Arch user.
are funny creatures, not spelled like how they sound. Like baloney, Colonel Wednesday. Sometimes they can
Dude, that's like the entire English language too. Fuck baloney. And knife. And fuck Wednesday. I hate English.
The next word can be tricky. Most people get it wrong. But I'll teach you how to say it by the end of this song. It's Sousa, say Sousa. Don't let the name confuse ya. It starts with Sue and ends with Sa. Now doesn't that amuse ya? It's Sousa, say Sousa.
I officially have cancer. So, it's open Sousa. Let's see how this guy does it.
You are looking at Julian's pronunciation guide, where we look at how to pronounce better some of the most mispronounced words in the world, like this other curious word. But how do you say what you're looking for? Name by Linux.
As far as I know, open Sousa is a German term, so it's pronounced open Sousa. Of course it's German. I'm like slightly...
Linus or Linus? What's your preferred pronunciation?
When I speak Swedish, it's Linus. When I speak Finnish, it's Linus. When I speak English, it's Linus. And I really don't care how people pronounce it.
Based! Open source? Oh, really? I need that shirt. You know what's funny? Is Linus Torvald literally has looked like this his entire life, and he still looks like this. He looks the same. Like, he just doesn't age. He just got gray hair now. But every year I get older, I'm like, he's getting older. We're going to lose him. By the way, I found out how good VMware, and according to VirtualBox, VBox is a piece of shit. Yeah, VirtualBox is a piece of shit. I use... It's gonna make everyone mad. I use QEMU. Nice. They have
The
employees.
booth. Alan is here. He's just invisible right now.
Based. Okay. Torvalds. Linus Torvalds. He's finished, man. What do you expect? He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't age. Rob Zombie looked like he was 60 when he was 20. That's because he's Rob Zombie. And that's true. Rob Zombie did look fucking old. So did the guy from Korn. Jonathan Davey? Davey or whatever? Alright. Back to big brain thoughts, cause and explain the computers guy. Yeah, he doesn't fucking age either. Jenkins, and he looks the same today. Yeah, he does look the same. Well, this has been a big meme for a long time, is Keanu Reeves. Reeves is immortal. This is like a meme that has been around for a very long time. He looks like some fucking vampire from like... He looks like some vampire from fucking like 1530. I mean, he's white, so of course this motherfucker looks the same. I mean, this is staggering. Jonathan Davis, I swear I'm not here to judge, just to correct you. Look, I don't remember what I did last week. Mr. Richard Stallman, true. Same body here. That's true. John. Look, I got the D right, man. Yeah. This is like kind of insane. Keanu Reeves does also have money. So the stress of financial burden was never there. Okay, so installed software on Kodachi. I look like Mr. Yeah, that's funny. This section can be described as everything, including the conceit. It includes Audacity, Ramina, LibreOffice, OpenSSH server, GCC, boo, Postfix, which is even enabled and listening, and much, much more. This probably stems from the fact that Ubuntu Live, this is Ubuntu Live image with minimal modifications, but more software means bigger attack surface. This is true. It's probably not a good thing in a system focused on maintaining anonymity. Software such as Polarity Contest is installed. Ooh. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No judgment. I'm just seeing it. Oh, yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. Heck, even Avahi is installed. Why would you want that piece of software made for announcing your presence on such installation anyway? It simply doesn't make sense. Removing it would make the system work fine, and removing it one potential problem. Keanu Reeves is a really good guy, I guess. Yeah. And he has excellent firearm instruction. I watched someone that like trained him. He has he took this role really, I mean, the role of John Wick, very serious. File encryption. File encryption appears to be proven by a custom Python 2 script named lock.py with a shell script wrapper named lock.lock.py. Python gross to be a Python script written by Joe Winoff. Although the creator of Kodachi gives zero reference to using this piece of software, not that he is the creator, the script released under an MIT license based, from what I could find, as far as I can tell, Warith Al-Mawli, the creator of Kodachi, does not include the license, thus abiding by the terms of distribution by lock.py. This is the reason why he writes the following in his channel log. I tried moving from Ubuntu 24. Python depreciated was a hassle for me to continue, so I continued with 18.04.6. For now, bear in mind that 18.4 is still valid for Ubuntu, and it should reach life by 2023. Keanu Reeves' firearm training is incredible. It is. He was good friends with River Phoenix. Oh, man. Yeah. LLL on the Kodachi part. River Phoenix. That's Joaquin Phoenix. That's Joaquin Phoenix. That was Joaquin Phoenix's brother, right? But you should ignore that because that has nothing to do with what you're talking about. No, I mean, I love random information, man. We drop in knowledge, 3D talking, 3-digit IQ moments. The software that actually uses Kodachi appears to be collecting a collection of bash scripts that's called tilde, by the way, /.kbase -. The quality of these scripts make me wonder if some of the scripts contain bash tutorial in the top of the scripts. Let's see. It's not very unpopular in DistroWatch. A lot more popular than Debian-based. My own private Idaho. Yeah, I love River Phoenix. Yeah, I watched a video on that very fucked up story about him. I did not know anything about him. I haven't seen the Joker yet, though, guys. Just throwing that out there. So, let's see what this bash. Sudo tac h, tac u, Kodachi bash, echo home, my home path desktop. You know what's kind of stupid is if this is the file, is there anything that explains what it's doing? Oh, okay, here we go. Run A and B regardless of success of A. Interesting. Dogfight. I should watch some of his movies. Just for the memes. The channel log is by the way worth reading. It contains a few what the fucks. Wow. Let me show you the snippet that generates the hardware hash function get ID a sudo demicodes ID number. Okay, Kodachi W. First of all, this is unforgivable. This is data that uniquely identifies a computer, and he transmits that. If the computer is used for anonymity, the hash allows anyone controlling the endpoint to check if a user corresponds physical computer. Al M transmits this on his own server. Stay away from Kodachi except as an exercise of how not to do things. Oh, except as an exercise of not how to do things. Has a top Linux malware on default. I think people have pointed out that there's a lot of security flaws with it, but we're going to continue to find out. First of all, second, the snippet indicates that someone who doesn't entirely know what they're doing with constructs such as G equal brackets ... followed by E equals money sign G for no obvious reason. The poor variable naming makes mistakes more likely and reduces readability, which is important for security software. Yeah, honestly, good documentation is always important. I don't care what anyone says. But the flip side, it doesn't do what the author believes it does. It's trivial to edit the script and replace this function with the following, which return a random unique hash each time, thereby removing his ability to block people. Function get ID, Ray Jason, because he better look at how he handles networking. IP cat JSON web file name JQ-R server feed net check domain args validate JSONs here. If bash something with your IP address, then ipmail.com. Print arrow failed if JSON variable IP setting it to IP file echo switching domain IP echo DC client the smart way. Interesting. Did y'all see Dave Eddy's "You Suck at Programming" Yep's video on web server in pure bash? I use Arch, by the way. Based. No, I haven't. Bash is cool. I like Bash. I think Bash is honestly a great thing to just learn. It's a very nice thing to automate stuff. There's some stuff that I learned how to do. This is inherently a great example of the difference between bad coder creating code using AI and good coder creating code using AI. True. I actually like I made like a bash script on encrypting a file and then decrypting it. And then there was a bash script. I used to run a Mastodon server on DigitalOcean about like 4 or 5 years ago. And the temp files kept eating up my storage. I wanted to strangle the fuck out of this. The Mastodon is super heavy. So I was like, how to create bash script to delete files. So I found out how to delete files. I took it and put it in a bash script, and then I learned about cron jobs in the process. I had a problem. I figured out the solution, and then I stopped running out of space because it would eat up like 4 to 5 gigs, and DigitalOcean was very expensive. When you get into the storage, like the block storage, by the way. A good coder will know the conditions they need to protect, whether they're using AI or not. Yeah, I think if you're a good coder, you could probably use AI in a sense to make something work quicker that you know that's going to be efficient and secure. Sanitizing inputs and stuff like that. Yeah. Versus a bad coder who is using AI to code and doesn't know if it's safe or not, or if it's breaking like bad rules, or if it's good or not. So I've said this time and time again, I think IT used to be about love and the want to learn, and now it's just about the money, and it's kind of ruined it, and people are just getting into the cyber security. And that's okay. That's okay you don't know how to write code. I'm not a coder either. I know, like, I can kind of read Python because I was really into Python for some reason. And it's human readable. I'm not saying because I'm smart or anything. And I kind of know Bash from slight Bash, like eras where I was like, I need to know Bash for this specific thing. But I'm nowhere. You could never hand me a Bash file and I'd be like, yeah, I know this. Is good or bad. But Bash is cool. Like, yeah, exactly. It's easier to use AI to write the code and then evaluate the code rather than trying to figure all this. Yeah, there's some eras where AI is great. I don't think AI is completely useless and terrible and awful. I think there's good points. AI has good use cases. Local AI, preferably. I do not want to hand that information. Kali guys love Python. Yeah, I hate Python. I had a big problem with Python. Lua is easier than Python, and for loops are fast. Yeah. I would say well, if you know what you're doing, it would probably that could demean easier. And yeah, faster. Like there's probably like do you really have to like repeat certain stuff where you could have like an AI agent come in and write all the stuff that you would consistently, it's the same like same output. You're like, all right, I'm just gonna do this to have it automate some, like Ansible. I love Ansible. Ansible is great. I have a lot of servers running. I would hate to go individually each time and update all of them. Ansible. Yeah, I use for local AI, I use this. This is great. I run it in a virtual machine. It works on cubes.os, by the way. This is a good, all local. It's what I use. Back to Linux stuff. Okay, so he can ban users using a VPN if he considers them to be abusive. How does he accomplish that? Surely it has to be a server side, right? Nope, just kidding. It's handled on the client side. Function, ban action, service, OpenVPN. Ew, it doesn't use WireGuard. I played around with local AI a bit. It's fun. It is. And there's sometimes where AI, like, it's like, I don't want to Google this shit and just look through all these fucking documents. It's like very simple. I'll use it. Good stream. See you. You should go to... I will. Thanks, Billy. Appreciate you stopping by. So he can ban users using a VPN. What is that local AI trained on? Oh, you pick the model. You just download it. Do I trust Secure Blue? Do you have control over that? You do. I mean, I use it. You have to download it. You have to download all the models. It gives you you control what models you want to download, and you can block the networking. So in cubes.os, you can block off networking. You can do like limited out. I wouldn't call it free, because these are all trained on other people's information, but it's great. I like it. And I block networking in this. I download everything, and then I cut off networking to my VM, the virtual machine, and then I run it, and it works. It's just storage and somewhat intensive. Less intensive if you work. It's also kind of slow, because I don't have a dedicated GPU. But picking the model doesn't mean you control what it's trained on. That's correct. That's how all models work, unless you train your own models. But that's where you have to get like dedicated like GPUs and train it yourself. I would just pick the most privacy respecting, ethical, quote unquote, model. Or if you don't care, just download any model. It's offline though. That's the important part. What about Olama? It's all right. I use DeepSeek. I think it's good. I switch out the models. I delete them and I try other ones, and then I cut off internet access. Because I don't think an AI is all necessarily evil. I think there are problems with AI. I think AI is going to be a problem when people are using it to do things that I would consider unethical. And I have some privacy concerns. This is why I do it locally, so it doesn't collect any of my information and gets leaked on the internet. DeepSeek is it's good, and it proves that NVIDIA is fucking overblown. It proves NVIDIA is overblown and pointless, that you can do it on old, shitty, undedicated hardware because China has an embargo on NVIDIA GPUs, and it proves that you can do it for a fraction of the cost. That's why I like DeepSeek, because it proves that AI is hype. I think AI is good in certain cases, and it has a basic place in society. I see what you're saying. I don't really trust any of these models, even though a lot of them are quite useful. Ideally, I would run something that I have trained myself. Yeah, what you can do, you can get I think yeah. Gigabyte has an AI top utility Linux-based software designed to run on its dedicated hardware, including the motherboard, GPUs, and power supply, allowing users to locally train and fine-tune AI models up to 236 billion parameters. I mean, it's definitely possible. You can train your own AI. It's just going to be more intensive, which is cool. Did you see the Gamer Nexus 3? No, I have not. I love Gamer Nexus though. I love Gamer Nexus but he's such a DeepSeek even works great on 5th gen. Yeah. They really showed. I just think also the US buying 10% of Intel is up makes me uncomfortable. I don't like that. I truly do not like the US buying.
Today we're investing.
That is dystopian to me, especially chips. Think about it. Chip level. Palantir. Just put this in your tinfoil schizophrenic hat real quick in the back and put it in the back for a couple of years. We're going to have like Lenovo backdoor CPU level. Oh, it got deleted. Damn. I wonder if someone downloaded it. The video was taken down by Bloomberg. Oh, man. I hope somebody fucking... Damn it. So I routinely will look for... So it's not available on their channel. I will routinely look for videos that I think that they're going to get taken down, and I will download them myself. Yeah, that's good. I think...
Today we're investigating NZXT's shady and manipulative.
Gamer Nexus is far better than Linus Tech Tips. My only complaint is he's so monotone. I fucking hate it. I hate his voice. I'm gonna be honest. But I give his integrity. His integrity is amazing. If somebody could drop the re-upload somewhere, that'd be great. I would like to watch that later, or I'll find it at some point. But I will say, Gamers Nexus integrity should be the standard for YouTube. Like quite literally, a fucking hero in YouTube and in general. But his voice. I don't like Linus Tech Tips anymore after that whole drama. Linus Tech Tips, unfortunate name. I just dropped it. Thanks, I appreciate. Are you on YouTube? I might. I don't like Linus Tech Tips for the simple fact that his ads, dude, are ass, and he does not know how to take criticism. Do. I mean, that's just my viewpoint. I used to really like Linus Tech Tips. I think he provides valuable information. Are you talking about the drama with him and Steve? Yeah, kind of. But beyond that, I just search AI GPU black. Oh, that's what it was. Louis Rossman killed. Yeah. I like Louis Rossman too. Nice. I'm gonna download this as well. The only thing I didn't like about Louis Rossman is his take on Graphene OS. I think that was a shit take, but that's my personal opinion. I think his take on Graphene OS was really bad. And the fact that Daniel McKay made him uncomfortable to run the software was kind of retarded. Daniel McKay is an asshole. I mean, I've talked to him. I've interacted with him. Yeah, he deleted the link. Yes. Yeah. No, YouTube doesn't like links, so unfortunately, I'm just gonna download this and keep it. Yeah, it is. YouTube does not like links. It's retarded. I have a Matrix channel. It probably was. I have a Matrix channel. I have a Discord channel. Drop the links in there as well. And I'm also I'm pretty much everywhere. Hey, Frank, for fun times, do you have any light distros like Alpine to try? Just for the VM funds, maybe to use sometime? Yeah, I actually I like Alpine. I would agree on that, but I don't think he would agree with that take now. I don't think he would agree with what he might disagree that like Graphene OS, his take on Graphene OS was probably overthought. And Daniel McKay, again, I get why he's an asshole. But I get why Linus Tech Tips would be great without Linus. Truly. Everyone actually, my favorite character on there is the kind of fat dude that does Linux stuff. I like him. He'll do stuff on like open source and like Linux. He's like the kind of like really fat guy. I can't remember his name though. I would think Lewis probably would redact his opinion on Graphene OS, and I get why people have interacted with Daniel McKay would consider him an asshole, but he's not the entire Graphene OS team. He's just bad at communication. Not everyone it's not a tech problem. Some people just do not know how to communicate. They don't know how to run a company via communication. This is why you have people that do it for you. Not everyone's can wear all hats. It's just not possible. Anthony. Anthony is the most based person in the entire company. He looks like the average Arch user too. So back to bad Linux practices, guys. So you can ban users, service sudo kill all, sign OpenVPN, service if PSX grep based. You should use rust grept dev null, then sudo kill all tor. So he sends the hardware ID to the server, and if the server replies banned, the client politely kills all VPN connections. But it's a bash script, so it's not exactly hard to comment out a few lines here and there. This is the illustration of the level of brokenness in Al's security thinking. He doesn't understand that you can't trust the client in such a scenario. Would you seriously trust this guy to handle your security? Anthony's the only one who knows how to do anything. True. No, you good. Yeah, Graphene OS is amazing regardless. True. No, it's okay. Don't be sorry. It's okay I don't mind going on rants. It keeps my four-digit IQ working. One of the biggest problems, there is no firewall configured nil, zip, nada, heck. It has postfix installed and listening. NC 10.0.325, 20, okay. So this is a form of different computer on the same subnet, what possible rational does decision have? It's a security risk. There's no meaningful scenario where it was wanted on the computer, so use anonymously connect to the internet. It's only ever relevant on email server. So think about that. Put that in the back of your head. This guy's making networking mistakes. This might be outdated now, but it's something to think about. Security score, Kodachi gives you a 0 out of 100 supposedly to inform you how secure you are. The problem is, of course, it doesn't really tell you anything. Consider the following: service, Tor service, if blah, 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 then model ISP Tor is going to... Kodachi doesn't actually test if Tor is actually in use. It's enough that it's running, or how about a firewall? Firewalls are important, by the way. Like, I don't think people realize how good firewalls are. They don't stop everything, but I mean, I use them like everyone else. Too bad if the interface gets renamed to Ton 1. It also doesn't check if the rules is sensible. It's just some rule contains Ton 0 somewhere. Allow any with Ton 0 as a comment will bump the score. As it is, the number is largely meaningless. A secure system can score 0. A secure system can score 100. At the best, it's not useful. At the worst, it's actively harmful because users may be able to mislead by a good score. What distro should I try today, chat? Anonymously, anyone have recommendations, guys? A light secure, perhaps, like Alpine? Do Haiku. I only use Arch for the meme, and it's easier to install stuff when to delete stuff when I don't want. True. The stream is great. Why is there only one other user besides me who has liked it? Yeah, guys, why haven't you all liked the stream? Because YouTube actively hates privacy channels. So another thing to keep in mind, this is how fingerprinting. I love the EFF. This is no hate towards them. But open tracks. I think that's what it's called. No, it's not open tracks. Cover your tracks. Yeah, Haiku is not Linux. Cover your tracks is a really... I'm glad they run stuff for free. This is terrible. Like the stream, guys? Yeah, guys, like the stream to push me for the algorithm. So cover your tracks is bad for two simple facts. Not everybody's browser is the same. Not everybody browses the internet the same. Not everybody has the same screen resolution. Anti-fingerprinting in itself does not work. In all honesty, in all cases. This is why Tor tells you not to even change your screen resolution, because you stand out. You may stand out among a few thousand people, a few hundred people, one people. You might stand out the most. This might look like, hey, this is good, but it creates a false sense of security, because you having 6 other extensions on your account, on your browser, at a different resolution makes you unique. The way you type makes you unique. Your NTP, your fucking time zone makes you fucking unique. Your MAC address makes you unique. All these things make you unique. Fingerprinting in itself is a very difficult thing to actually thwart. Does that mean you should do nothing? No. Should you use a VPN? Sure. Should you block scripts? Yeah. Should you block ads? Yes. But in hindsight, you are still making yourself unique. This is why Tails, if I'm so anonymous, yeah, but you're really unique. Yeah, true. Not only that, but do LinkedIn do Haiku. It sounds cool. The thing is, Tails and Tor work because everyone looks the same. You can't pick somebody out. You can't even Tails takes it far enough to the extent of actually Tails takes it to the extent of making it so you're typing the way you type your keyboard all looks the same. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. All these things can be tracked, traced, and pointed out if you have obviously like NSA agents and you have like a huge organization looking at your traffic, looking at the traffic. Like they're like, this guy posts every Tuesday at 3 p.m. at this speed. We know it's them. You know what I mean? So like that's the thing you need to think about. This is why OPSEC is important. This is why the way you speak online is important. This is why even just using emojis and like typing a certain way and typing at a certain time is important because it makes you identifiable. It makes you unique. You don't need to. People are like, oh, our microphones are listening to us. You don't need that. Humans are very habitual and they make mistakes. And they're very, not only habitual, they do the same thing. It makes them unique. All these things combined makes you trackable. Great website, great company, great organization, does great work, useless website is what I meant. This is the only YouTube channel I actually enjoy watching live. Thank you, I appreciate that. But that's my personal take. I love the EFF. I think they do good work. YouTube clearly knows this. True. No, they don't. Joker moment. But in all seriousness, ignore that misleading website. Think about how to make yourself, if you want to be anonymous, quote unquote, and clearly reduce your footprint, use Tor. Graphene OS has stated this before. Vendanium only benefits if everyone uses it. It makes you blend in. Everyone looks the same. No trackability because everyone looks the same. But it would lose the security. Somehow I always end up finding you going live when I'm willing to give an hour or two. Thank you. I appreciate that. Graphene OS has explained, kind of like Secure Blue, to answer Langton's entropy. They acknowledge that you would lose a massive. Thank you, I appreciate it. You would lose a massive amount of security, base level security, by using it, unless it's built on secure hardware. But that gets into like the complexity of secured hardware, secure OS. You put a secure OS on secure hardware, it doesn't really fucking matter. It'd be like putting a big block Chevy on a fucking bicycle. Wouldn't really accomplish anything. So we're going to talk about AppArmor. As it's based off Ubuntu, Kodachi comes with AppArmor. That's kind of nice. Sadly, it only uses the default profile available in Ubuntu, because a lot of Linux distros don't come with AppArmor, and AppArmor is a step above. To be clear, anyone watching, he's absolutely correct. Thank you. Yeah, true. It's based off Ubuntu. Kodachi comes with AppArmor. Sadly, only uses the default profile available in Ubuntu with no adaptations. AppArmor could be a valuable piece of defense in depth, and this is true, assuring that the problem in a web browser can't compromise the entire system, e.g. restricting the browser to read and write to a defined set of directions. This is sadly not done. You must be somewhat shadow banned, and this is the first time I've seen your channel. I'd make a whole lot of noise without going very far. I don't want to say I'm shadow banned. I have this is the content creator side of it. I don't think, contrary to popular belief, I don't think I'm shadow banned. So YouTube, I wish I had a whiteboard. YouTube cares about two things. So I've been on YouTube for about 4 years. No, I'm not going to create a free account. Yeah, I subbed to now, so now I'll show up. Thank you, appreciate it. So YouTube cares about two things. This is one side. This is the other side. I can't draw. Need a draw pad. They care about view time. I'm gonna put this as VT, and then likes to / dislike ratio. So YouTube cares about view time, like watch time. That is their most important. No matter, there is no secret to the YouTube algorithm. Watch time is king. Watch time pushes. YouTube definitely fucks with subs. They show me a lot notifications anyways. Kind of subs, kind of it's like probably like this. Even when you have the bell notification clicked on, subs are probably down here. It's part of the algorithm, but their watch time is the most important because they like to serve ads. This is why everyone does 8 to 9 minutes, because they get mid-rolled ads. Even when you have the bell, they have 8 to 9 minute mid-roll ad because they get mid-rolled ads, so they get paid more. Don't even get me started on hour to two long videos on YouTube, and the people that watch that all the way through, the watch time goes crazy. They push it through the algorithm, and then nobody truly knows the YouTube algorithm. This is all speculation because it's a black box. Me and RTP talked about this. Right to privacy, great content creator, does great things in the privacy space, and I believe Sam Bent, I talked to him about this. YouTube has unsubbed me from a ton of channels. Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. When I was doing magic, like strictly magic and just talking to people, I would get recommended to a lot of magic people that like magic, right? That's what I'm saying. Even for the channels you're subbed and have the bell ring, you don't even see notifications on new videos. Yeah, I have noticed that. Some people, I have asked in a poll that what do people get notifications from when I do lives or when I drop a video? And a lot of them did say no. I don't know if that's a YouTube thing. I don't know if it's a glitch or a software thing. I have notifications turned off for my own reason for a lot of things. So it's hard for me to really go beyond that. But me and RTP talked about this. Magic the Gathering, the game. Me and RTP talked about this. He said he wonders if monetization, like turning it on, would push his channel through the algorithm more, and he doesn't really know if it would or wouldn't. I don't know if he has monetization on now. This was quite a while back, and I think he said he was not monetized. He does not have ads on. I'm not monetizable yet, but I don't really want to turn on ads because I think they're annoying, and I encourage people to actually run an ad block. Oh, don't be sorry, you're good. So this is like kind of like the side of the content creation. Like looking at my analytics, I was boasting about I think 60 for a long time, 60,000 views per month. But it was one video that was carrying it. It finally died off after about quite a while. Now I'm at like 27 to like 30,000 views. I don't think it's suppression. I think it's just privacy and security is hard to keep people interested in. When they become very private and secure conscious, they don't want to use YouTube and they go somewhere else. So this is kind of like a double-edged sword where I'm stabbing myself. Like I'm like, I want people to be more private and secure. So when they become more private and secure conscious, they go to other platforms. That's my goal. So like my goal is would inevitably is the worst business model. My goal is the worst business model. People to get off YouTube. YouTube is unusable without ad block. Seriously. Oh my God. It is the worst. And sponsor skip, by the way. Oh my God. Literally cancer. Discord is the point of contact. So this guy hangs out in it. Back to the context. So he pretty much doesn't use AppArmor. Discord is the point of contact. This guy hangs out in the Discord chat. That's crazy, by the way. The more private conscious people I know wouldn't touch Discord with a 10-foot pole. I kind of agree with that. I think you need to reach the masses through the means of production of whatever you have, and then convert them to better free and open source software. Not having the RSC channel seems like a strange choice, so I kind of disagree with that. But not having an RSC is kind of, yeah. What I found, a couple hours of looking, some of the findings are serious, some are merely indicate carelessness from the creator's system, indicating that he doesn't have a good knowledge of security. The bash scripts indicate someone who has no programming background and no Linux administration background, with a strange construct of using Network Manager to fetch the list of devices, but does not use Network Manager to configure them, calls DHC client for a loopback interface, and so forth. Many of the choices won't affect a security conscious user, but they will allow a novice configuration of the system in secure state. More choices available for essentially means that people can make more mistakes. Tails has recognized this and provides a secure baseline that's not easy to break apart. Documentation for Doji is severely lacking. The documentation clearly warns about this. I think, oh, that's not around anymore. YouTube. I could probably find more problems if I spend more time looking, but it's simply not worth it. What I found removes all trust from the author and advice is simply to stay far away from this piece of software. It is not secure and the author does not know how to secure a system. So they have a follow-up. They have a revisited. It's not long. It's from 2025, so it's not outdated. I previously written this is from like a couple months ago. So keep that in mind. Because having this in mind keeps it tries to keep it transparent. And honestly, like, for a while I was myself, like, I was on the fence of like Linux is the most secure and private operating system, and then I became awoken to rationality. We have to be rational. It's not rationality doesn't always equal good outcomes and the best look, if that makes sense. In I've previously written about Kadachi. The author is now working on a new version, and it doesn't look any better. Let's have a look, for instance. Proposed authentication protocol. On the proposed authentication protocol, it's unclear where it will be used. It's unclear what it protects, and it's unclear whom it authenticates. When a client attempts to authenticate, it contacts a server. This generates a cryptographically secure 256-bit, absolutely correct, random value using random bytes. This value is encoded in 64-character hexadecimal string for transmission. A unique CSRF token is attached with the challenge to prevent reply attacks. Client-side processing, the client revises the string and applies a SHA-256 hash to solve the challenge. The server validates the solution upon success, and session token security benefits. No passwords are even transmitted or stored, significantly reduced. Good luck in making sense of this. In addition, there's a lot of unanswered questions. I don't think security is a myth. I think there's good security practice and bad security practice. Good security. So here's a good example of this. 120 in current 2025. 128-bit encryption is more than enough to protect everything. We just use 256 because why not? And websites will go off of marketing as military-grade encryption. Military just means that it passes the military. It doesn't mean it's a good standard. Cha-Cha and Cha-Cha 20 encryption is supposed to be cryptographically secure against quantum computing. We don't know that. Just like I have an M-disk is supposed to last 100 years. I will never be able to test that, even in my lifetime. Even if I live 100 years. This is true. What works today won't work 10 years from now. Yeah, security is an evolving thing. Right now, SimpleX and Signal have the best security models for end-to-end encryption in terms of message delivery. Will that be Cha-Cha 20 encryption? Yeah. Is it Cha-Cha 20? Are you gaslighting me? Yeah, Cha-Cha 20. It's supposed to be resistant to quantum computing. But it's a guess. We're not even at the point of quantum computing. So it was used with a 256-bit key. This might not matter. And by the way, Signal, a lot of people don't know this, they use double ratchet encryption. They use two forms, which is the same. It's the standard. I just wrote what sounds like you said. I had no idea it was a real. Oh yeah, no, Cha-Cha. So that's what Signal uses, Cha-Cha. And I think and Bitwarden uses Argon. Argon. I don't think you realize how many encryption types out there. There's Surface, there's Tubefish, there's Argon. Argon is used in Bitwarden. It solves some problems. It's great. Cha-Cha. So Signal uses double ratchet encryption. So if one fails, it's got another one. And it's good the thing that they do because one... Yeah, it's really... double ratchet encryption is awesome. There's even my favorite... This is the one that fucking blows my mind. Diffie-Hellman is an encryption and hash that distinct Cloudflare uses. Yeah, dude, that's the one that fucking actually blows my mind. They use fucking lava lamps. That one, like, literally fucking, like, melts my brain. I can't keep up with all these encryption algorithms, but I'm massively glad they... Yeah, 100%. Cloudflare's lava lamp fucking one is like, oh, my brain hurts. Math is cool. But, so in normal cryptography, you never want to expose your keys. Ever. Diffie-Hellman encryption, you can do this. I don't know how. The fundamental difference lies in the reversibility purpose, and the output encryption is revealable, and the correct key while hashing is not. And the context, hashing is the process that takes the input message and returns it. You can use... It's to ensure confidentiality. This encryption method is used still today in a lot of messaging services. It's kind of insane. Like, the key exchange being public does not matter, apparently, from what I understand. That's why it's crazy. This man be spitting. He's like, guys, I figured it out. The lava lamp design is fucking brilliant. It is. It's crazy. Now, there are some problems with Diffie-Hellman, but it's insane. Like, it's actively crazy on how it achieves this. Even understanding, like, I think one of the biggest flaws is secrets management. I think that's a lot of developers accidentally put their keys in the wrong place. I mean, that's more of like a user error, but it's fucking crazy. Let's see this. Oh wait, the term most of the season I started, but the most theoretically secure or complex is a one-time pad Verninium cipher. It is often said as the strongest, is proven to be unbreakable. Which wow, I mean AES is the gold standard. 128 is still, I think, still like it can't be cracked. There's also what is it? This one hurts. It's homeophonic. I'm gonna find this. Holographic encryption. I think it's the hardest. They set up level ups in 2013. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah, data encryption by disarranging the holographic information with rotation holograms. Yeah, this is a theory. Optical encryption based on computer generated. Where's the one? There, I think this is it. Holographic encryption, a new frontier in optical security. Yeah, there's some, but let's look at this. Whew. One-time pad is an encryption technique that cannot be cracked or in cryptography. It requires the use of a single-use crzy that is larger than equal to the size of message being sent. In this technique, a plain text is paired with a random secret key, also referred to as one-time pad. Then each bit of character in the plain text encryption by the combining it with the corresponding character from a pad using a modular addition. The resulting ciphertext is impossible to decrypt or break if the following conditions are met. The key must be at least as long as the plaintext. The key must be truly random. Truly random in computers is kind of difficult. I'm sure they haven't been hacked by now. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I think they picked lava lamps because they actually... So computers technically can't create true number random generation. It's technically deterministic. This is a problem in computer science in general, from what I understand from listening to other people that are a million times smarter than me. The deterministic nature of computers, because computers have deterministic outputs, this is a problem. What up, Billy? Welcome back. This is a problem in computer science, is true number generators essentially are somewhat predictive. Like, there's somewhat predictive in computer science. Lava lamps are very random. Yeah, they're very random. That's why they're so secure. We have like 4 likes. What the hell, guys? Lava lamps are very random, and that's essentially why they did it. Oh, there's only 3 watching. What the hell? I think there's also somebody on people on Kick. Because Kick doesn't really give a shit if I say fuck. I mean, they don't care if you murder someone on their platform. They'll be like, sweet, more views. So that's kind of how they work. Are we cracking a BTC tonight? Guys, we're breaking Bitcoin. Fish in a tank could work too. Yeah, technically fish in a tank would work because they are always randomly swimming, which is It's crazy they use lobster. It'd be kind of funny if they used fish too, but that would be a logistical problem because fish die. They're not immortal. They have a short lifespan. Not the shortest, but they have a short lifespan. So you would have to constantly buy fish. Lava lamps kind of probably work forever. So it's probably like monetize wise, it's probably the cheapest. And no, I feel like actually, I wonder if fish have more of a pattern. Fish probably have more of a pattern than lava lamps. Imagine cracking. I don't care if you say fuck or murder someone. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want you to murder. No, it's just YouTube. We've gotten to the era of YouTube where people have to use censored slang, which I'm not a fan of because they use it in real life. The word unalive, the word suicide. I'm gonna sound like a fucking boomer though. I don't like the word suicide and unalive. Just say someone committed suicide. Say someone killed themselves. Like I think I think we're devaluing our language because of TikTok. But that's one of my. I like Parrot OS Home Edition a lot. It's so simple, no bullshit approach. Home and desktop. True, Parrot is the better Kali Linux. But unfortunately, a lot in computer science in general is not random. In nature, even in general, like a lot of things are are deterministic in its nature, so it's kind of a problem. But the key, that's a whole different thing. So the key must be at least as long as the plain text. The key must be truly random. The key must never be reused in whole or in part. The key must be kept completely secret by the communication parties. These requirements make the OTP the only known encryption system that is mathematically proved to be unbreakable under the principles of information theory. Digital versions of one-time pad ciphers have been used in nations for critical diplomatic and military communications, but the problems of a secure key distribution make them impractical for many applications. You can say F or M or S or U or P or S or I. True. Oh, you can't say. That's true. What's that? Oh, damn. Someone mentioned Parrot. I was going to mention this before. Good OS. Yeah, it's better than Kali. I like it more than Kali. I think H3 had the P word. Oh no, it's not that.
African American.
Get real, dude. Nobody.
I was censoring my. I think I remember, so they would not get blocked. I think I remember H3 talking about this. He's like, eventually we're gonna devalue our language to like just letters.
In the world uses marijuana and is willfully ignoring the oppression of
The White Devil was the greatest. This is the greatest skit he's ever done.
Mexican American. Let's just eliminate words altogether and just grunt at each other and nod as to not offend anyone. Bask in my whiteness.
God, it's great. Yeah, I think he goes on a rant here. Like, we just need to say the B word, the M word, the P word. Like, holy shit! That's why I love the internet. It's super funny. All right. Like I understand. Like, there's probably certain words you should never say to a person because you might get your shit kicked in. Like, you might receive backlash via physical strikes by talking shit to the wrong person. But dude used to be so. I mean, people evolve. It's all right. It's not my place to care. I think old H33 like when he would do the reaction videos, he was definitely the funniest. He was definitely the funniest, 100%. He's definitely the funniest. He made reaction videos, the way he did reaction videos were actually hilarious. Reaction videos are just retards that just stare at the camera and they do nothing. And I don't like lazy form content like that. That's why I don't like watching videos, because I think it goes against somewhat of my ethics. Because like people, I try to, you have to put input. If you don't put input, then you are essentially just stealing content and you're just trying to get views and make money. Which I don't like. Say things that in real world you face real world consequences. That's why streamers are. There's actually a really good video. I'm gonna contradict like what I entirely said. I think it was a door. This was it.
Alright, well.
It's a short, so.
What?
Hey, dip, quit thinking about my twinkle.
What's that mean?
Hey, dip, quit thinking about my twinkle.
No.
Hey, dip, quit thinking about my twinkle.
Get out of my face and call top sign. Stop.
Hey, dip, quit thinking about my twinkle.
Stop!
As you can see, this guy was like, I fucked up. But look at that fucking draw, though, from that. Look at that draw from that fucking joke.
Hey, dip, quit thinking about my twinkle.
Stop!
I'm gonna get fucking flagged. I'm gonna get fucking flagged. And I don't think this DoorDash driver actually got self-defense. Oh, he did. He walked.
The man who shot and wounded a YouTube prankster at Dulles Town Center, you can see right there, has been released from jail. We were there this afternoon as Alan Coley walked out.
I don't think this is going to sound super fucked up. I don't think he should have went to jail. This is going to sound insane. I'm going to sound like 5D retard moment. But if somebody tells you to stop and they're walking away from you and you're constantly approaching them, you are effectively now invading my space and you're invading my person. I thought he didn't get off on self-defense. And look, the guy's just literally doing his job. Fuck no, he shouldn't have gone to jail. Yeah. The guy's just doing his job at the end of the day. You are being a nuisance and you are invading my personal space. This guy's much bigger. He could have robbed you. That streamer was a douche. His parents stuck up for his shit behavior. Yeah, he shouldn't have gone to jail. And DoorDashers probably get robbed at a high rate because they think they have money on them. I think you have a right to defend yourself. It's actually insane that, look, if it's one thing, look, I'm 100% for the First Amendment. I think if you're in public, you have no rights of privacy. You are in public. That's fine. It's protected. I get it. But if somebody is actively yeah, it's absolutely threatening. It's actually insane. But I remember when this case was going on, people are like, oh, the prankster continues to do the same thing that got him shot. Damn. I got a knife fight with a Mexican with a gun when I was, yeah. There was, he was known around the area, even by the cops for, antagonizing isn't a reason to pull out, let me rephrase that. if somebody just came up to me and they started shoving a camera in my face, I'll just walk away, and I assume that they will walk away as well. But if they continue to shove the camera in my face and I tell them to stop, to exit my space, I'm lucky I live in a stand your ground state. I mean, there's some... I'm lucky that I don't live in California. See you again. Later, Billy.
Out of the Loudoun County Adult Detention Center, greeting by his attorney. Coley spent 8 months behind bars, convicted of unlawful
Crazy. 8 fucking months. I won clearly. Well, yeah. And you don't know what somebody's doing to you. You got 2 people that are now look at this. They're cornering you. This guy's like, dude, like, I do not want to fucking do this. I just want to go back on my I just want to go on my day. I just want to go about my job. Like, these streamers are fucking cancer.
Discharge of a firearm. He shot Tanner Cook back in April. You might remember this. Cook was
and he tells him to stop.
Engaging with Coley at the shopping center.
This loser in the white hat literally fucking does
Center
not
as
leave
Cook
this
recorded
man alone.
a prank video for his YouTube channel. We spoke with a woman who says
And then he bled?
She was once victimized by one of Cook's pranks, and she testified at Coley's trial.
Thank God.
I am elated for Mr. Coley. I know he...
8 days in jail is long enough to turn a liberal into a racist. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, apparently he didn't give up either. But the thing is, I think left, right, doesn't matter what your political affiliation is. You should be able to 8 fucking months behind bars for defending himself. Yeah, that is fucking crazy. I think you should be able to defend yourself. I know people have Americans in general have a problem with guns to a certain degree, but the thing is,
Coley's trial.
I am elated for Mr. Coley. I know he's got a long road ahead of him. His life has been ruined, but hopefully he can have a fresh song.
Yeah.
At Coley's trial.
I am.
Center as Cook recorded a prank video for his YouTube.
Like, he tells him to stop, and he's like, "All right, dude, I'm done with this."
Channel. We spoke.
This guy's not. This guy is not fucking stopping. I don't subscribe to political. Yeah, 100%. But I think go on any gun real quick. Go on any pro-gun YouTube channel, and it becomes political. It's always the one retard that's like. It's always the retard that they're like, you should put the restream chat up on the OBS. I don't know how to do that, actually. I think politics are important. I think politics is important. I think it has its place. Don't punch douchebag people, guys. I had big trouble defending myself in high school. There's actually Austria, huge gun country. Some of the best manufacturers in guns. But I think this dude was completely justified, especially given the... Yeah, 100%. I don't know what state he's from.
With a woman who says she was once victimized.
100% justified. Both sides bow to the same masters. I mean, kind of. Different sides of the political spectrum do have definitely different values. I'm all about freedom, brother. I like the freedom. But there are countries where self-defense is not a right. That's insane. To me, that's insane. Name the masters. IHOP and Denny's. IHOP and Denny's. Denny's is Master 1, IHOP is Master 2. Pranksters can be assaulted. The dude was far bigger than the small man. The prankster is a bully. The sad thing is that the prankster didn't learn his lesson after getting shot and is still harassed. That's crazy. If I got shot for being this retard, I 100% would never talk to anyone ever again. Like, I'd be so done. prank channel, the justice. Yes, there are, but thankfully this wasn't one of them. Yeah. I'm glad. I thought he got rightfully so. There are due processes exist. Everyone should leave those states. Rightfully so, due process exists. I think it's okay to go through and investigate anything because the bank / stock market. You should be able to investigate and make sure, hey, this guy I'd be too embarrassed to go on public again. For real. You should be able to investigate and go in and be like, hey, this guy just literally got approached and then pulled out his gun and shot someone. That would be unjustified. Welcome to my world. I stand in a country protecting myself from big bully. Again, I believe you. Because there are countries where self-defense is not a right. I think if you go into if the guy just immediately pull out his gun and start blasting, yeah, sure, he probably shouldn't own a firearm. He should probably be in jail. But you clearly see him quite literally.
It's shocking, never before seen video that led to the shooting.
Not just one person, you have two people.
Of a notorious YouTube prankster. You can see the pranks.
I don't care what the context is. I don't care what this guy's showing him. You have a guy that says stop.
He's the 6'5" dude in the white baseball cap. His target is a guy named Alan Coley, and he's holding a bag of food he just picked up at the food court at the Dulles Town Center in Virginia. But the prankster never expected this reaction.
The crazy thing is, he tells him to stop, and the guy doesn't listen. People like this should get off the internet, quite literally. They are the worst. And the fact that the guy did 8 months is crazy. Quite literally. Teen shot dead in TikTok prank. Stop pranking people. God damn, bro. Classified gooners, YouTube prankster shot in the stomach. That's crazy. This guy looks tired. He's like, I'm tired of this shit. Man, I'm just glad he got not guilty. I'd crash out so bad on them. And the thing is, you are quite literally entitled to your safety. In my opinion, you are entitled to be able to be able to protect yourself. That's my opinion. I mean, I think it's the right opinion, but that's my opinion. Just like how you should have the opinion on our today's sponsor, NordVPN, that will keep you super safe and secure. Just kidding. You should also secure your Linux distros and not use Kodochi that uses server-side verification. How does the content? Okay. Away from the drama, back to the YouTube. I would have pushed out and not fired. No, that's a good. Honestly, real quick, that's a good thing. That means you have good trigger discipline. You are a human being. You have a soul. Nobody NordVPN bounce touchable. You have a soul. Quick gun talk. I believe there are less people. These incivilized pranksters are an example of lesser people, just like bullies. Yeah, they're the worst. I truly, in my whole heart, hope that I never have to use my firearm. Ever in my life. I never want to use it. I like shooting for fun. At the core level. I think it's a cool thing to do. I think it's a cool hobby to have. I'm switching to Molbad soon. Based, as you should. I think firearms are cool. I like shooting. I think they're fun. But at the end of the day, if it's my life, if I feel like it's my life or somebody else's, and again, yeah, dude, $5 a month. And if you use Monero, you get 10% discount. I think it's important to be able to protect yourself It's no difference than you. Like, I would use mace before I would use my gun. And you can pay multiple months at a time. True. I would use mace before I would use my gun. I would never want to use my gun. But if there's a situation where my gun suffices and I need to use it, and I hope I never do, I truly do, I would use it. Because I value my life. That's all it is. And it's a very difficult thing to make. It's a very difficult decision to make. It's not how to buy in easy cash or mail the cash in. Yeah. Privacy first. Go to KYC. Yeah, and that sucks. Fuck. Before we go back to the okay, so you go here. You can go to malvad.com. I'm not going to because they expose your IP address. And that sucks. I think people should have the right to defend yourself. In the US, not everyone has urban city where they have access to law enforcement. It's quick. The response time in my city is ass. And I live in like a major city, quote unquote major city. Imagine you live in the middle of nowhere and someone just drives up and just starts beating the shit out of you. You're not calling the police and they're not being there in 5 minutes. I think that's the part that people forget. And I used to be relatively anti-gun. Like, pretty severely anti-gun. And then I was like, I'm retarded. This is a dumb opinion to have. I'm going to mine Monero and sleep. See ya. Based! As you should, everyone mine Monero. All 8 people. I tried privacy card. They need U.S. social security number and phone number. Can't be done outside. When I decided myself, I only got in trouble. Yeah. And I think, weed should be legal anyways. All drugs should be legal, but that's my extreme take. Weed should have been federally legal a long time ago. I don't even really smoke weed. And I even when I was on my, no weed, I'm not going to smoke weed fiasco, I still think weed should be legal. I think people should be able to do what they want. We don't condemn people that fucking eat McDonald's and fast food. If you want to smoke weed, smoke weed. Bro in here, police give no fucks, even if mostly. I believe you. I've luckily never caught a marinara charge, but weed should have been legal a long time ago. It's just not going. It's not going to happen for at least in my lifetime. It'd be sick if it did. Like the last administration declassified it and brought it down to a lesser charge, which is kind of cool. And then I think Trump pushed it down even further. They don't know it. This was 10 years ago. Oh God, that sounds terrible. Actually, I'm surprised you didn't I'm surprised you didn't go to prison and get ass raped. like by the books, quite literally. I've seen people get. It depends on your state. I think Singapore has the worst. Singapore is the worst. Singapore maintains the mandatory death penalty for drug trafficking, including cannabis, where quantities exceed a specific threshold. The most recent confirmed execution for cannabis-related offenses was that Sapira, who was executed in 2023. That's only a couple of years ago. No, when you're in trouble, you're on your own. All drugs are very illegal here. I know, I believe you. 2023 for abetting trafficking 1 kilogram, 2 pounds of cannabis. In this case, drew significant international criticism for human rights groups. That's crazy. Executed for fucking weed. That is crazy. In 2024, Xi Fengjing, a former property agent, was sentenced to the mandatory death penalty for trafficking 4 kilograms of cannabis. He claimed the drugs were intended for research and development. The judge noted Sen's own assessment. That is crazy. Even meth, dude, fuck you. Like, 500 grams of cannabis, 250 grams of meth. The government, through the Ministry of Home Affairs, maintained that the death penalty is necessary to combat drug trafficking, to keep the country safe, calling it an essential battle. That is insane. To me, that's insane. I mean, this is already proof that condemning the death penalty doesn't prevent people from fucking doing it. People say, oh, it's less. It's like, all right, take the boot out. I like Ritalin, haha, legal. Yeah, crazy. We'll make meth illegal and cannabis illegal, but Ritalin, you straight dog. You Gucci. I mean, to me, that's insane. You shouldn't be sentenced to death for trafficking. I come from the all drugs should be legal perspective, but that's my free and open source perspective. All right, back to they give Adderall to kids. I don't necessarily have a problem with Adderall. I think ADHD could be in some cases it could be overprescribed, where maybe it could be misdiagnosed, overprescribed, and then other cases where people aren't diagnosed and underprescribed and probably do need medication. I have no issue with medication. I think that medication is fine. I think Adderall is fine. I think Concerta is fine. I think if you need, from the outcome data, if you need medication to make your life much more manageable and easier, there's nothing wrong with it. That is a sentiment that we need to get removed from our thoughts. Not everybody is normal, quote unquote normal. What is normal? I mean, normal is subjective, but not everyone is normal. Not everybody can manage their ADHD like a normal person. I think it's okay to be. Adderall is almost meth. Kind of. This is a myth. This is kind of a myth. It's not meth. It's got the same chemical compound. That doesn't make it meth. Meth requires a process. Meth is much worse for you. Smoke meth and take Adderall. I think all drugs should be legal except the ones that make you lose your mind. No, I think all drugs should be legal. I mean, I'm on the case of legalize all drugs, tax all drugs, take that money, create systems that get people off them that have problems. I mean, alcohol is legal in the United States, and it's a huge problem. Making them illegal does not make society better. Making them legal and taking the appropriate financial measures to make sure that people have the care they need makes society better. I think people are going to do them regardless. I think that in certain contexts, drugs could be rehabilitating. If you take DMT or psilocybin or weed versus you take Vicodin, morphine, and other problems, yeah, YouTube censoring my comments, probably, and other things where your society, it makes you worse off in society. I mean, alcohol is legal. We laugh about it. It's put in movies. Oh, it's just my drunk uncle. Oh, it's just my retarded drunk dad. But we don't ban alcohol because we realized banning alcohol quite literally was a bad idea. So, I mean, there was a whole amendment and that was changed for it. So I think that in hindsight, drugs should just be legal. Allow people to consume drugs, mind your own business, and move on. There was actually a video I saw of some fucking loser, and I used the big L in loser, that was talking to someone saying they would beat the shit out of him if they saw him doing meth again on his quote unquote streets that he owns. If somebody interrupted, if I was doing meth and I was just doing meth and I was existing in society and I went to work and I did meth and I harmed 0 people in the process and somebody threatened me, I would drop kick them. And if they physically touched me, I would fundamentally exercise my Second Amendment on them. Because you're a psycho if you care about what other people do on the street. You can smoke on the street, you can drink on the street. It's none of your business what people do with their lives. That's just my personal take. If you want to do crack and you're contributing to society, that's your business. That's not my problem. I read papers on comparison of methamphetamine with cocaine. They are very similar, but Ritalin helps me because productivity beyond any measures. I drink heavily when I'm not on Ritalin. Have to get rid of debt-based banking along with getting rid of drug laws. Yeah, I mean, there is a problem. I mean, debt is, I mean, my personal point of view on that is people view credit cards as debt when they're really not. But yeah, there's a problem with the banking system and lending to people that shouldn't take that money. I think if Ritalin makes you a better contributor to society, there's nothing wrong with it if it works for you. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I mean, outcome data has proven that making drugs illegal doesn't do anything. The war on drugs, the war on drugs is a complete failure. It's a joke. Debt-based system drags everyone down. They use drugs to cope. Yeah, I mean, the buy now, pay later is kind of dog shit. I did everything when I was younger. Yeah, I mean, I've done drugs. I think drugs are fine. I think they're a social experiment. That's all it is. Some people shouldn't do drugs, though. I mean, like, quite literally. And that's fine. I think it's okay to not do drugs, just like it's okay not to do anything. And some people ignore. Yeah, it works quite good. There are some people that probably shouldn't do drugs. I mean, because they just have they're just very susceptible to peer. I'm not really susceptible to peer pressure. Peer pressure does not bother me. I just like getting drunk or high, you know. Like, that's all it is. I just like I could do it alone. Not that it's a good thing, but if you find yourself doing drugs and drinking alone and doing stuff all that alone, maybe you have a problem and you should correct it. And true, people that have done stuff when they were younger, like drugs or like drinking when they were younger, 100%, they probably, like, it's cool that they did them younger and they probably don't need them now. There's actually an insane story that I read real quick on it's interesting to see how different people react. Yeah. Different people react to the same drug very differently. And it is actually interesting to see. But there's actually a crazy story. So it's Washington. Guy loses second A. I tried something, gives me a panic attack. That's why I don't smoke weed. Yeah. I miss people watching more than doing the drugs. People watching is great. I'm going to go get some water. I'll be right back. Okay. Get some beer. So one of the things is one of the things about it is if you live in society and you contribute and you do drugs, no one really cares. One of my biggest gripes with weed is the people that smoke weed, don't contribute, gives impact. Oh, Guinness is alright. It's too thick for me. They smoke weed. They don't contribute. They don't do anything. They don't say it's a drug, and they're far off worse. Weed definitely has negative effects that needs to be studied, looked at, and explained. And I think, yeah, buddy. Oh, warm Guinness, you're a psycho. You're truly a beer drinker, though. Guinness is supposed to be Guinness is supposed to be drank warm. Guinness is the only beer that's supposed to be drank warm. It is supposed to be drank warm, but God, it's disgusting. I just hate Guinness. Guinness is supposed to be drank with, oh God, Bailey's is, ugh. I can chug a Guinness. I smoke weed. Yeah, weed's great. I don't think weed is, like, inherently bad or anything. It's not the demon that everyone makes it out to be. But the people that ignore weed and its problems, that's the problem. I smoke sativa. Okay, AH, I'm about to fucking blow your mind. You're about to be fucking... Hold on. Your balls are about to be fucking rocked. Damn it. So, there's actually no... Your balls are about to be slapped. So, before you know, I found that... So, for the longest time, weed has always been the same to me. It always gets me high. It always makes me paranoid. It doesn't matter. How are we only like 5 likes? True. So weed has always done the same effect to me. If I smoke just enough, I'm good. Otherwise, it makes me paranoid. Indica and sativa labels are largely meaningless when it comes to cannabis complexities. I found this out a long time ago. Sativa, indica, does not matter. What's the word? The placebo is fed to people, and we believe it, and we think it does different. This is the same with liquor. All liquor does the same. Tequila doesn't make you angry. Last time I smoked, I watched all Last of Us Season 1 and got scared home in case the neighbors smelled it. Yeah, I mean, like, that's kind of funny. It's kind of valid. There was one person that contributed to this myth, and we just go with it. Indica and sativa are commonly used to describe cannabis strains, but what's the difference between the two labels? Almost half of all Canadians have tried cannabis at some point in their lives. If you're one of them, you've probably been confronted with because medical dispensaries label them sativa. 100%. I always notice the label sativa is lighter green color. 100%. There's probably a look difference. There's probably a density difference, but this is just botanist. Like, this is just like what's the word I'm looking for? Plant biology at the base level. Like, when you mix two strains, these strains are going to get the characteristics of other strains. This is just planting in general. Indica body high, sativa mental high. Not real, by the way. Not even real. It's not real. They've done this with wine. They've done this with alcohol. They've taken people and blind test them, like, which that's what you're supposed to do. If you want to understand if something's real or not, it's like red wine and white wine. Yeah, they're the same. They do the same thing. If you actually want to understand fundamentally if something affects you differently, you have to blind test it. You have to blind taste test it. You have to blind and consume it. And you have to do this based on people. Like, you take 10 people, you blind test it on them, and then you take another 10 people and you do a controlled substance. And you do this controlled substance, and that's how you find out outcome data. Like, that's with everything. Weed fundamentally was this sativa versus indica versus hybrid was driven by, like, I believe a single individual. And it, like, stuck with people. But it's okay. It's not a bad thing. I don't think people are stupid or retarded for this. They just hear something and they believe it and they move on. It's not harmful to society to think this. I don't think it really matters. But to educate, because I like educating people and I like educating myself in general, this is a thing. Our teams of research at Dalhousie University worked on with Bedrocan International, a Dutch medical cannabis company, to study hundreds of cannabis strains with indica and sativa labels. We measured the chemical compound produced by each strain. This includes not only the majority of psychoactive cannabis like THC and CBD. By the way, CBD, worthless on its own. It doesn't really do anything. It kind of reduces the high from what I write and understand, but fundamentally there's no known accelerator in terms of arthritis reduction. Like, it doesn't actually reduce arthritis. It doesn't reduce anxiety. It's all placebo effect. Indica usually has a higher CBD count as it gives body high. Yeah, combination wise, CBD with THC, it might have an effect because it's combined with THC. CBD might combat THC. This is the theory. That wouldn't really indicate that it's a indica thing. It's just, it's a CBD thing, which you can 100% control. If you have a plant and you own the plant, you can control a lot of the context of that plant and its outcome. I mean, that's just how a lot of, like, plant biodiversity works in general. It was frequently the case that strains labeled indica were just closely related to strains labeled as sativa as they were the other strains labeled. An example illustrates inconsistent use of these labels. In the case of 1999 cannabis strain named AK-47, the most based semi-automatic rifle, won the sativa cup and cannabis cup. The same strain went on to the indica cup in the same competition 4 years later. Not only did we define that the indica and sativa labeling is misleading, but also the names given to the strains. For example, we found that two strains, both named OG Kush, were more similar to the other strains with different names than they were with another. Overall, strain names are not often reliable indicators of plants' genetic identity and chemical profile. Broken telephone, improved labeling, like this fucking person here. But it's essentially breaks down that indica and sativas aren't really the sole moving factor. Like AK-47 is a good strain. Yeah, it is. I do want an AK-47 just for the funnies, just in general, because it's a solid. It's kind of a fun gun to shoot. I got to shoot one like as a rental, but as an ownership, it would be awesome. But essentially, strains are indica sativas are useless. Strains are a little bit less useless. You could technically change the chemical compounds, the level of THC delivery through probably some like like agriculture or like farming technology like most farmers do, but that's just a perspective. Weed to me does all the same thing. It just makes me paranoid and high. That's why I like a specific amount. The amount I treat weed kind of like quote unquote poison. It's about the amount. It's the dosage, not the poison itself. Too much of anything can be too much of anything. A good thing. Just like too bad of Linux policies and securities, which we're about to read. How does the client authenticate the server? What is this pure purpose of random 32-bit nonsense? Why is separate CSRF token needed in addition to nonsense? Why do applying hash to a nonsense solve challenge? What challenge? What solution does the server validate? In short, I don't see any authentication happening as the protocol. I don't see how it can be secure either. And why not transmit passwords? Why not transmit passwords? TL solves this problem. And if the server is untrusted to handle the passwords, is untrusted to handle the secrets as well. And why reinvent the wheel? There's multiple protocols for authentication that doesn't reveal a client-side secret to the server, but proves client knowledge of the secret. TLS and SSH authentication are two such mechanisms. Schneider's law is even relevant. I have to go study, guys. Love and peace to all. Great stream result. Thanks, Langton. I appreciate you coming by. Have fun studying. Schreier on security is a pretty relevantly good perspective. He has a good idea of how security works. Anyone from the most clueless amateur to the best cryptographer can create an algorithm that himself can't break. An idea is even older. Back in 1984, Charles Babbage wrote, one of the most singular charismatics of the art of deciphering is the strong conviction possessed by every person, even moderately equity is that able to construct a cipher where nobody else can decipher. Yeah, this is kind of true. Anyone can decipher. Anyone can produce a cipher that no one can decipher. I can make one up right now. I can make up an algorithm. I can make up an encryption algorithm myself that no one will be able to decipher. Just like language, I can make up my own language. No one else can figure it out. But is it practical? Do other people use it? Schneider has pretty good takes. I mean, he's very, very, very involved in obviously the security side of it. Okay. Anyone from the most clueless amateur to the best cryptographer can create an algorithm that he himself can't break. It's not even that hard. What's hard is creating an algorithm that no one else can break, even after years of analysis. And the only way to prove that is to subject the algorithm to years of analysis by the best cryptographers around. This is also true. A big proponent and kind of like standardization in cryptography. What's up, Ravish? How you doing, man? I'm doing good. How are you? I'm doing good. Cryptography is making the algorithm open source where other people can analyze it and kind of like figure it out and then see if they can break it and decrypt it. This is where double ratchet encryption kind of shines. If an algorithm is insufficient and it got implemented just like recently, I think Signal in the last like year or two incorporated a algorithm that was like that won a cipher like award at like a hackathon or something had a vulnerability. It broke, and then it didn't matter because they did double ratchet encryption, the belt and suspenders approach, where if one fails, it has another beneath it, in making sure that your stuff is encrypted. I mean, it's 4D chess like level thinking, which you should. The author of Kodachi has no credentials to go by, no publishing works on security, no education on the topic, and no prior work on the authentication. There's an overwhelming chance of broken authentication scheme. All this follows my prior criticism. There's simply no reason to trust Kodachi is secure. From what I seen, the author has no training in either software development or security. This way Git is used is another clear indication of lack of experience. Note that I'm not claiming that I can do better. I probably can't, but I'm not attempting. I'm aware of how difficult it is, and I'm straining from do so. But it doesn't end there. There's other gems in the design document. Are you trying to redeem the card? What card? So this is something that also people should think about. You can have an opinion on something in the security field and just admit, hey, I can't do better than this, but I know what insecure software looks like. This is something that I could take at face value. So I am a Graphene OS user. I have read the documentation. I interpret the documentation into my brain, and I come up with a common solution of how it works and how efficient it is compared to other custom OSs, forks, and or perspective on security. I then take the other information that I've learned along the way and see if it matches, and if it doesn't come to a match, then essentially I should reject that this is a secure product and move on to another development case. This is how you should receive information in general. When you have a product or software that says, hey, I'm secure, I'm the most secure, you should trust me, you should reject that and then verify it, either through receipts, either through like Mulvad. Mulvad's a perfect example. Or Signal. They have gotten court orders. They've ignored the court orders. They're like, hey, this is what we have. This is what we don't have. And then when they move on. That is an admission of we do not have in the court of law. Where like we don't have this information. So that's just something to keep in the back of your mind. And you don't have to be a security expert to know that. So the approach to security extends beyond authentication, incorporating continuous monitoring, network monitoring. Tools like IFTOP and NetHogs are used to detect unusual traffic patterns. Process monitoring. Applications such as BTOP and HTOP are help identify suspicious resource usage. Port bandwidth tracking, integrity of running process, real-time alerts. How can tools such as IFHOP and NetHogs detect unusual traffic patterns if they're made for discovery, overall network bandwidth use or the biggest network users? A critical leak may be hundreds of bytes per second and won't show up in such tool. A real IDS would be better. Again, proposing such tools, lack of understanding. BTOP and HTOP can help, but require limited knowledge of what's normal. Normal users will probably not be in that position. This is true. You can pull up BTOP and HTOP and not know what you're looking at. You can pull up any tool and not know what you're looking at. Just because you use Linux doesn't mean you know what you're looking at. I mean, it's simple. Furthermore, the present version of 8.27, based on Ubuntu 18.04, was released on February of 2023. Ubuntu 18.04 was end of life, May 2023. Thus, Kodachi is recommending people to use software that has not been maintained for 2 years. This is a problem. This is why rolling release security distros are more secure and is no longer actively tracked. There is vulnerabilities in 1804. This is true. And no one tracks or patches them anymore. For a security-focused product to not patch that comes with project complexity is releasing a Linux distro. Distros such as Debian and Ubuntu have terms of multiple people doing security patching and reviews. More important, they have infrastructure of handling if such automated CI/CD system that builds and distributes new packages. Once patches are approved, the infrastructure is force multiplier. The developers no longer need to spend time manually building stuff. In short, the response thing would be to no longer offer an insecure product. This is actually a problem with Debian and Ubuntu in LTS form. A lot of the patching, security patching, isn't done. This is an issue. That was pretty much it, but we're going to get into Linux. Insecurities. So, this is somewhat outdated because it's written so old. But huge but, you have to remember that it's kind of relevant. Linux being secure is a common misconception in the security and privacy realm. Linux is thought to be secure primarily because of its source model, popular usage in servers, small user base, and confusion about its security features. This article is intended to debunk these misunderstandings by demonstrating the lack of various important security mechanisms found in other desktop operating systems and identifying critical security problems with Linux security's model. He should be using the word GNU in front of Linux, but we'll let that pass. I digress. Overall, other operating systems have much stronger focus on security and have made many innovations in defense security technologies, whereas Linux has fallen behind. Section 1 explains the lack of proper application security model and demonstrates why software that is commonly touted as solutions to the problem are insufficient. Section 2 examines the comparison and number of important exploit mitigations. Section 3 presents a plethora of architectural security issues with the Linux kernel itself. Section 4 shows the ease of which an adversary can acquire root privileges, and Section 5 contains examples therefore. Section 6 details issues specific to stable release models where software updates are frozen. Section 7 discusses infeasibility of the average user connecting the aforementioned issues. Finally, Section 8 provides a link to what other security researchers have said about this topic. So we're going to just do Section 1 and then move on. Well, Section 1 and then end the stream. Flatpak, so sandboxing. The traditional application security model on desktop operating systems give an executed application complete access to all the data within the same user account. I think this is a UUID issue in the Linux realm, something to be aware of. This means that any malicious application you install or an exploited vulnerability in otherwise benevolent application can result in the attacker immediately gaining access to your data. Such vulnerabilities are inevitable and their impact should be limited by strictly isolating the software from one another. So like when you have software that is rogue and you have no sandboxing, this is a problem. Linux still follows the security model, such as there is no resemblance of a strong sandboxing architecture or permission model in the standard Linux desktop. Currently, sandboxing solutions are either non-existent or insufficient. All applications have access to each other's data and can snoop on your personal information. I think this is a UUID issue. In comparison, other desktop OSs include Windows, Mac OS, Chrome OS have put considered effort into sandboxing applications, the last two in particular. Windows, Mac OS. Flatpak. Flatpak aims to sandbox applications, but its sandboxing is very flawed. I don't think this is a thing anymore. It fully trusts the application. It allows them to specify their own policy. This means that security is effectively optional, and applications can simply choose not to be sufficiently sandboxed. I think you can kind of solve this with, what's the name? Flatpak's permissions are also far too broad to be meaningful. For example, many applications come with the file system home or file system / host permissions, which grant read and write access. In the FlatHub Git organization, 550 applications come with such permissions, which 30% of all repositories. Well, this percentage remains significant. It includes a considerable amount of applications. Something to think about. FireJail is another common sandboxing technology. However, it is insufficient. FireJail would worsen security by acting as a privilege escalation hole. FireJail requires being set UID, meaning that it executes with the privilege of the executable owners, which in this case is the root user. This means that vulnerability and FireJail allows escalation of root privileges. That's something to think about. Think about in the next stream is what I say. All right, guys. Thank you. I appreciate you watching the stream. Make sure you go into the the comments for the algorithm and argue, because that's how you make it to the top. You create haters, and I will see you guys in the next video. I appreciate you all stopping by. I appreciate you all